I make a difference in the world? I'm just a kid. Who is going to listen to me? Every day we have the power to use our voices, to speak out for injustices and stand up for the voiceless when something isn't right. But do we? The lonely, the poor, those bullied, we can be the champions and heroes that the world needs. However, when we don't stand up and we sit back and let injustices occur, we display what is known as apathy. Apathy means a lack of feeling, emotion, interest, and concern. Ask yourselves, why don't we speak out? Do we worry what others will think of us? Are we embarrassed and ashamed of our emotions? Or are we too lazy or think it's someone else's responsibility? Albert Einstein said, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." For the past few years, I've had an inquisitive interest in the events of World War II, reading many stories of survival, bravery, tragedy, death, and evil. However, what has always intrigued me the most is the fact that nations and world leaders stood by while millions of people died. Did you know that if we all held 1 minute silence for every victim of the Holocaust, we would be silent for 11.5 years? Apathy. There's a lesser-known story of a young girl called Gertruda growing up in a very humble family in Poland during World War II. Her father went off to fight for the Polish army at the start of the war. She was taken away from her family at age just 14, and she was sent to work for a German family. She suffered from hard manual labour on a farm in Germany, and she never saw her parents or family again. No one stood up for her. No one championed the cause of a young Polish girl who just needed someone to say that this is unjust. Apathy. A study in 2018 found that 3 in 5 students have experienced bullying. When we sit back and say nothing, when we don't get involved and we mind our own business, we let the bullies win. When someone is discriminated against because of the colour of their skin, their religious beliefs or disability, it is up to us to make a stand. Smile at a stranger or friend. Apologise when you're in the wrong. Make a donation. Volunteer. Say thank you. Be the difference that you want to see in the world. Let's fight the enemy that is apathy, to be courageous, relentless, to stop hatred. We should wake up every day on a mission to convince others that the world we live in today is not the best version it could be. If we all had a little more empathy and a little less apathy, the world would shine brighter. That young Polish girl who found her way to a better life in Australia would want to know that her sacrifices were not wasted, and that the world today cares more about its people. I know this to be true because she was my great-grandmother, my babcia, and her challenge for me every day is to not sit back and to not give in to apathy. So get up and do something that you feel passionate about. Make a difference by being the difference. Thank you.
She said, "I can't do it." She said, "It is not needed, not a priority." She said, "School is not for me." As I'm holding this book, wishing that if only I knew how to read, I could understand what it's all about. But the sad truth is, I can't read or even write. Tears going down my cheeks, one by one. My heart feels heavy. I feel hopeless. Please, let me go to school. Let me learn how to read and write. Help me change my life. Does anyone care? Yes, I was born poor, and I have nothing. But I believe that education is the answer to poverty. So should I stop and accept defeat? No. I have the right to go to school. I have the right to learn how to read. Nearly 600 millions of people are living below the extreme poverty line. According to UNICEF, children represent half of the world's poor. Disadvantaged people can't afford basic human needs, such as clean water, food, clothing, and not even a warm place to stay in. Poor living conditions have a big negative impact on a child's life. Mostly, these children were deprived from a proper education. They either left school or were forced to leave school because of parents not being able to afford the supplies needed for learning. The Education Commission reported that disadvantaged children are on 2 to 3 years behind in numeracy and literacy, and only 1 in 10 children from poor families gain the basic secondary skills needed to study a degree in college. So, how do we address this problem? How do we eradicate poverty? Is it enough to provide them food? No. We must understand that giving them cans of soup or even bags of rice is not enough to solve this problem. Children without proper education lose the chances of having a better life and a better future. Education can help eliminate unemployment, illiteracy, and help them live sustainable lives. Yes, the call to eliminate poverty is a global, urgent call. We should act now. Today, I will say enough. Enough to poverty. Enough to limited opportunities. Enough to uncertain futures. Yes, my mother and father did not go to school, but I will be different. I will go out there and get the education I need. Look at me now. This is the face of the disadvantaged child. But once you look deeper into my eyes, you will see the determination and the will to change my destiny. So when you see a poor child on the street, broken and lost, remember that if you can lend a helping hand, you give them a chance to do great things. And if you can be a light to their dark world, they will learn how to strengthen their wings and fly like that mighty eagle. And with that humble pen and paper they hold, they will rewrite their story and change the world. Today, I challenge you to look them in the eyes and tell them that no matter what, they can be whatever they want to be. Today, I challenge you to answer the call and save the children of the world.
Smash! Oh no, what have I done? I'll tell you what I've done. I've done what all children have done or eventually will do. Something we've all seen in kids' books, cartoons and TV shows. The baseball bat is shaking in my hand. My parents told me not to play baseball in the backyard, but I didn't listen. You all know what I've done, and sadly, so do I. I've broken the window. What am I going to do? No, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. That's right. Hello everyone. My name is David Azar, and today I'm going to talk about getting into and how to get out of trouble. Let's start with my example of breaking a window. Oh no, what have I done? Snap out of it. Pull yourself together, because it's time for my first and simplest method, confidence. Warning, this might come with a small punishment or a giant slap on the face if down from tail. This can go one of two ways. Either you lie with confidence or tell the truth. Here's a demonstration of me saying yes with confidence. Yes. If you tell the truth with or without confidence, you may get a small punishment, yes. But if you lie, you probably will eventually get caught and then have to face a bigger punishment. So in this case, you just tell the truth and accept punishment, but do it with confidence. My second method is one we're all familiar with. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the blame game. You were the only one in the room where it happened. It probably shattered after all the times you slammed it shut. Keep doing this until you're off the hook. Trust me, it's totally gonna work. Method 3. Suck up to your parents and get on their good side. Do chores, vacuum the broken glass, offer food and water. Say you're doing it so they're not stressed about the broken window, when you're really doing it so they're not mad when you confess. It's 100% guaranteed to not work. Method 4. Change the topic. Help clean up and all that, but whenever your parents bring up the topic, who broke the window, immediately change the subject, or come up with a theory like, oh, maybe a bird smashed it, or the neighbor's kids probably threw a rock at it. It's a good method, but make sure all the lies are believable and only stick with one theory. Wait a minute. Stick with one theory. Stick. Yes! Mom, the neighbor's kids threw a stick in the window. Method 5. Act so surprised when you first see the broken window. Be like, what? Who did this? Was it you? Was it you? Up the back is looking very suspicious. What about our judges? They're looking real guilty. Alright, fine, it was me. But let's be real here for a second. Whenever us children do something wrong, the very first thing we do, or think about doing, is denying. So that's just a tip for you adults listening. But now here's a tip for you lucky ones and the younger sibling like me. Pick a sibling to blame, and when you're near that sibling, be like, look, I know you broke the window, just admit it. keep doing these crazy things so they collapse under the pressure. My final method for getting out of trouble: after confidence, blaming, guilt tripping, changing the topic from names to neighbours. The very best way to get out of trouble is method number 7: come clean from the very start. Mum, I'm sorry, but I broke the window. Oh, that's okay. Wait, what? Look, I'm very sorry. No, you were grounded for 3 months. Ouch. That one's gonna hurt. Method number 8: find something to do while you're grounded. How should I have my speech? Oi, Craig, how should I have my speech? Who's Craig? He's the guy fixing the window. I'm David Ezra. Thank you for listening.
Snow White, Belle, Ariel, Moana, Anna, Jasmine, Cinderella, Rapunzel, and Pocahontas. As all our famous Disney princesses lay in a deep sleep or sing and work away, a prince is on a quest, risking his life, solving problems, in order to rescue a princess with true love's kiss. So what does this teach our younger generations? And what is the real message behind Walt Disney's magical princess tales? We all remember the young lost girl in the woods who stumbles into a cottage with Clumsy, Sleepy, and 5 other little men. She would cook and she would clean for them. She would get tricked by an old evil witch and ends up lying helplessly waiting for her true love's kiss. This is the story of Snow White, a young girl, a damsel in distress. Or the girl that lay in front of the fire, covered in cinders, she too had to cook and clean for her evil stepmother and ugly stepsisters, as tears ran down her face. Cinderella was helpless until Prince Charming discovered that the glass slipper fit her foot perfectly. The main message behind these tales lies within all of the older Disney princess stories. All of these stories have a similar theme, that women cook, clean, and have to be rescued by a prince. So what does this teach our younger generations? That women can't save themselves, that we can't fight for ourselves, and that we can't solve our own problems? Why do we always need to be rescued? Why can't we do something for ourselves? 79 years later, and we are swimming into clear blue waters, into a magical tale of a young girl who risks her life to save her island, her home. This princess had a power she couldn't even imagine. Moana was able to communicate with water spirits as she challenged misconceptions to discover the truth. Moana left her home to do what she had always wanted, despite the fact she was a girl. I feel that this is where we want our children and future generations to be inspired. As we march over icy mountains, we see another role model and famous Disney princess. Anna saves the day. She saves her sister, she fights by herself, and she defends the one she loves. This is what we want our future to look like. Over time, the change between the traditional princesses and that of Moana and Frozen sparks a new light for the children of today and future generations. The main idea that she'll be rescued by a handsome prince lies within all of the older Disney princess stories. But when we move past helplessness and our princesses being a damsel in distress, we see a new future of princesses teach our younger children to be courageous, brave, helpful, passionate, and independent. Today's Disney princesses empower children to be adventurous and sail across their own seas. Who knows, maybe one day the princess will have to save the prince. We need to say thank you to Disney for moving with times and truly seeing that to be a princess, you do not have to cook, clean, and lay waiting to be rescued. But princesses can challenge misconceptions and overcome stereotypes, even in a pair of heels, a crown, or a ball gown.
Organ donation. It's a pretty heavy subject. No one wants to be thinking about their death or a loved one's death. No one wants to be making such a big decision about donating their organs after the death of a loved one. But it is not as scary and as sad as it may seem. Let me explain. What is an organ donor? An organ donor is someone who has registered themselves to donate their organs after they pass away to someone whose organs are failing. This procedure is called organ transplant. They take the organs out of your body and transplant them into somebody else's body. The types of organs that can be transplanted in Australia includes the heart, the kidneys, the liver, the lungs, and the pancreas. By donating your organs, you can save the life of the person who receives this organ. Why would a transplant be needed? If you have an organ in your body that is not working anymore, you are at end stage of organ failure. Many treatments must have failed to fix the organ before you are put on the organ transplant recipient register, waiting for an organ to become available to you. Did you know that there are around 1,400 people on the organ transplant recipient register at one time in Australia? That's roughly 1,400 people who could die if no donor becomes available in time. Roughly 76% of Australians are generally willing to become organ donors. I've grown up in a family where organ donation is very important to us. Just before I was born, my mum's sister was killed in a car accident. She was on life support for many days before the doctors said that she was brain dead and could not be saved. My grandparents went through such a tough time and were approached by doctors who said that my auntie had chosen to become an organ donor. By her wishes and my grandparents' consent, she saved up to 7 lives that day, one of those a 7-year-old child. Out of something so tragic, something beautiful was also done. Organ donation is an important topic because it can change the lives of so many people. From the age of 18, it is something that you should be thinking about and talking about with your family. What better legacy could you possibly leave behind than to potentially save many lives? Every year on August the 30th, we remember Nathan Grummer, a former Year 8 student who attended Oak Hill College, who sadly passed away. In remembrance of Nathan, Jersey Day was created. This is where we raise awareness about organ donation and wear jerseys, since he gave the gift of life to someone who was losing theirs. In 2018, 554 deceased organ donors gave over 1,000 Australians a new chance at life. Such amazing things can happen when you give someone the second chance to live. Every one of us in this room has the potential to save many lives. You can give people a second chance at life, a second go. Death is never easy, but by being a donor, you bring light to the darkness of death and bring happiness to the recipients and their families. And as time passes and the grieving is over, as a donor family, you are proud of the legacy that your loved one left behind. Thank you.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5. To us, these are just numbers. But in actual fact, this is the amount of people that have passed away due to poverty since the start of my speech. Imagine a world of no food, constant tummy aches, and dry, cracked lips, waiting for a drop of water, clean water. Imagine living in a makeshift shelter, maybe under a bridge, or even in a thrown-away cardboard box. Cold, hungry, scared, alone, surrounded by despair and unwanted waste, every day hoping that you'll make it to the next, a faceless child with no true identity in the world around you. You place out your smeared and dirty hand, eyes downcast onto the ground in shame. Today, another day to beg. Tomorrow, a day of hopeful survival. The next day, who knows? People surround you everywhere, but yet none of them offer you food. Why? Why, you ask, as your lips crack open and tears spill out, staining your cheeks with sorrow and desperation. This may seem far-fetched, but this is an ordinary day for a child in poverty. Are you one of these people that just doesn't care? Most days, yes I am. My main concerns and worries are whether I still have that chocolate bar in my bag, or have I downloaded that latest game on my device. Most days, I complain about a healthy dinner which never involves enough dessert or treats. Other times, I cannot stand to tidy my room again because my toys and clothes are sprawled all over the floor. In these moments, no, I am not concerned with poverty. In my warm, comfortable life, I only have those first world problems. And yes, poverty is there, around the edges of my world. And I turn away. It is much easier to look into my phone screen than into those hungry, desperate eyes of a child in poverty. Or is it? We wake up thinking, why do I have to go to school today? They wake up thinking that I am so lucky to have survived another night. We wake up in a comfortable bed with the heater on or an electric blanket. The children living in poverty wake up in rags, sleeping on the streets and getting rained on. Rain. When it rains, it is the closest thing to a shower a child in poverty comes to. When you get up in the morning, are you annoyed that you have to wait for someone who's taking way too long in the shower? Next time, you need to stop. Stop and think about the children in poverty, because they are excited when it rains, because they receive the gift of life. Adidas, Nike, Under Armour are clothes brands that probably fill your wardrobe, taking up all the available space. Most of these clothes are probably too small or out of fashion. Helping just one look in your wardrobe away, donating clothes to the poor is something that everyone can do to help. 22,000 children that are just like you and I die each day. They are starving and underweight. Are you? You can donate canned food to charities like the Smith Family and St. Vincent de Paul. By doing this, you can now know that what you have done is going to help save a starving child's life. One of the main reasons why people are in poverty is because of lack of education. The government can bring education to these children because they are the future citizens of this world. If nothing happens and no one cares about these people who remain in the shadows of society in everlasting despair, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. This is the number of people who have passed away during my speech because of poverty.
And I'd like to invite Mrs. Moy McGuinness to give us some brief judges' comments.
Thanks, Attila. Well, it never ceases to amaze me how boys and girls in Year 6 can prepare a speech and then present it as well as they have. So many children over the diocese have presented their speeches, and these 6 children in front of you have done an absolutely amazing job. We were trying to count out how many children that might be, a couple of thousand, a few thousand, and you are the last 6. Well done and congratulations to you. Congratulations too to all the teachers who've prepared the children, helped to prepare the children, to the parents and grandparents as well, because I know they have a really big say in the speech sometimes. I've been through it. Also to the parents for the hundreds of thousands of times you've had to listen to this speech over the last many months. Well done to you, you've done an absolutely brilliant job. And boys and girls, to you, the audience sitting here today, you have been excellent, so well done to you as well. And lastly, a great big thank you. This is an amazing thing for children to do. It's a great privilege to be involved in it, and it's a great thing for children to be able to speak confidently, as these children did today and as many others have done. But to Mr. Lenve, for 33 years, I think is absolutely outstanding. So thank you to Mr. Lenve. And thank you for the privilege of being a judge today.
I'd like to invite Miss Amanda Bentley to come forward and present the Social Justice Award.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I just wanted to start by saying Pope Francis emphasises the need to engage young people and give agency to their aspirations. He says young people calls us to renewal and expansive hope, for they represent new directions for humanity and open us up to the future. It was really heartening to see so many of our participants write with a social justice theme today in the grand final, but also I know in the cluster finals, as well as in the classrooms as well. I am pleased to present the Social Justice Award today to somebody who shone a light on a theme in social justice that perhaps we don't know a lot about. So today's social justice recipient goes to Olivia Caddis.
And Amanda, I don't have to ask you to carry my thanks back to the Director of Mission because he's actually here, but thank you, Gary, for continuing to support the Voice of Youth competition, especially with the support of that Social Justice Award each year. It gives me great pleasure now to invite Mr. Kevin Etherington to come forward and do the announcements.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lenve. I've been involved over the years with the Voice of Youth for quite a long time before my retirement. It's always difficult when you're the person that has to announce a winner, when you look at all these fine young people here who've filtered down and filtered down and filtered down from the thousands of speeches that have been heard, and it comes down to our last group. And then you have to filter down and pick out people who've won a competition. But I think first off we need to give a round of applause to everybody. They've done well. I know how hard it is to do public speaking, but to come out here and speak in front of your peers is very, very difficult. So they've done a great job today. I want to just, before we announce the winners, I just want to reinforce what Mrs. McGuinness said about all of you who are here today. You've been a great audience, you've been sitting for a long time, so give yourselves a round of applause. You've done well, thank you. I, like a few of the people I can see in the audience, are probably around my vintage, and I've, like them, have listened to a lot of speeches in my time as well. The parents and the grandparents, without your support for this competition, in just doing all the little tweaking around and the tears that inevitably come from the preparation of speeches and taking the time to listen to your children present their speeches, especially when it's the 1,000th time and you've got 50 other things you're trying to do. So let's give a big round of applause to the support of the parents and the grandparents. Without any further ado, runner-up from St Angela's Castle Hill, Gemma Yeager. Our winner for today from Trinity Kemps Creek, So once again, congratulations to our winner and runner-up today. Thank you everybody for your support.